What's up, guys? This is the Casual Wrestling Community Show. I am one of your hosts, the Notorious NerdyD, alongside the co-host of the show, Milwaukee Mike. Tonight, we are going to dissect all of the things happening in pro wrestling, including our biggest takeaways from Raw and Smackdown, final predictions heading into WrestleMania, and a fun game of blind ranking the WrestleMania matches. We're going to switch up and do the actual matches. Okay. But first, 35 minutes on the clock. We never stick to it, but we'll try it. Let's break down wrestling for the casuals, guys.
Hey, you better bring it if we debating going toe-to-toe. No holding back, I'm speaking the facts. Let me introduce you to the dopest show. NerdyD and Milwaukee Mike, bringing the energy. If you a fan of wrestling, and especially WWE, this is the Casual Wrestling Show. Casual Wrestling Show. We got opinions, we letting them know. Casual Wrestling Show. Hey, ain't no holding back.
All right, so there's been kind of an incredible dump of content dropped onto us this last week. I saw in the Discord people talking about there's just so much to watch. It's almost impossible to keep up. We got a Bray Wyatt documentary, which I admittedly didn't even get to touch yet. I have not even watched 1 minute of it. But we also got a interview with CM Punk with Ariel Helwani that dropped yesterday, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so it dropped yesterday. And I think we all got to watch the interview, and I want to take the time for us to touch on a couple of things. Most importantly, I want to start off by saying CM Punk's a casual wrestling guy. Like, he gets it. CM Punk has become the voice of the casual wrestling community. He confirmed everything that we have talked about for the last 3 years, that the IWC has continued to stitch and bitch about week after week. My biggest takeaway from this interview, guys, is what I've been saying all along. AEW is not a wrestling company. It's a wrestling playground. It is a self-funded wrestling playground so that guys can go out there and pull off the moves and do the things that they want to do that they can't do in any other company. This is Tony Khan's toy box that he pays for, and rightfully so. If you pay for it, you get to do what you want. But it's Tony Khan's version of wrestling street ball. It's a who's next mentality. It's next up. You get to play a couple of games, and then you disappear for a couple of weeks. There's no rhyme. There's no reason. It is a great place for misfit wrestlers. Guys like Jon Moxley, who couldn't officially get over in WWE. Guys like the Young Bucks, who couldn't really find a commercial success anywhere else. So they go to the wrestling company, they get Tony Khan, and they fabricate something that looks like a legit company. You turn it on TV, it looks like a wrestling company. But the problem is it's not making money. It's self-funded. They're not worried about selling tickets. They're not worried about cards that make sense. It's Tony Khan. It is the definition of fake it until you make it. It is Tony Khan fantasy booking. It's what we'd all dream of. We all wish we could do it. Could just pay people to wrestle so that we can see the matches that we want to see. But the problem is, this is, guys, as former athletes, you've been in locker rooms where someone's dad was the coach. That's what this feels like. This feels like Tony Khan doesn't know how to tell certain people no. And so when you have a guy that has no spine, the inmates run the asylum. To me, this is why ultimately Britt Baker ends up in WWE. This is why MJF will end up in WWE. And this is why CM Punk left WWE, went to UFC, got beat up real bad, went to AEW, tried to fit in and went, oh man, this is bullshit. There are things worse than WWE. So he came back, and now we see this new humble version of Punk who goes, Triple H cleaned this up. It feels better. And ultimately, the grass wasn't greener on the other side.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I had two takeaways from the whole interview, right? And kind of backtracking to what you said, how AEW kind of feels like a lesser company, right? Punk mentioned information about his triceps injury when he was with AEW and how nobody contacted him for 6 months. No one helped him with his surgery. No one helped him with his PT. Nothing. And then he talked about how WWE, it's a complete opposite, right? They're on top of it. They've got a schedule for him. They've got everybody on top of him, contacting them daily. That right there kind of already shows you the balance between the two companies, right? And then another thing was Jack Perry. Jack Perry, a.k.a. Jungle Boy, whatever you want to call him.
Jungle Bitch.
Yeah. this guy seems like he's a real problem in the whole industry as a whole. It seems like he rubs people the wrong way. I listened to Busted Open earlier this morning. Bully Ray was like, I had an interaction with this guy. I was trying to be cordial, and he treated me like a piece of shit.
But my daddy was on 90210.
Man,
you gotta love me.
Yeah, that's well and great, but when he's got doctors and producers and talents telling him not to do a certain thing, he still does it. And then he's starting fights with CM Punk. It's like, all right, well, we might see now why CM Punk had the door open for him. So those were my two major takeaways. I agree with what you said, Nerdy. It's just a mess.
My problem is the narrative, right? That those guys were all quiet when the original narrative was being lined out, and AEW was still kind of the cool thing. Those Sean Ross and all those guys, they were quiet. The funny thing is, when you hear, and you can take it for what it's worth, like Punk said, believe him, don't believe him. But when you hear his side of the story about, like, it wasn't even about, like, going through the glass. It's about, like, damaging a rental car. And, like, how insane of an idea that is. When you hear that, you go, well, that, to me, that doesn't necessarily make sense. Why are you fighting with CM Punk about this? Why can't Tony Khan handle these kind of things? I think the narrative gets completely changed to me when I hear it that way.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, guys, so Monday Night Raw is still fresh on the minds of the WWE Universe right now, but let's drop our biggest takeaways from Monday Night Raw, starting with you, Mike. Tell us what your biggest takeaway was.
I'll tell you right now, there has to be an end game for the continuous, bullying of Cody Rhodes and making him look like a flat bitch. There has to be an end game. I'm watching that beatdown last night, right? And I'm just thinking to myself, they're making the bloodline look so strong right now and like untouchable. It's got to be for a reason, right? Like, how do you go into night 2 of WrestleMania and it's the same narrative that we've been seeing for the last couple weeks? I'd follow that by saying when Seth Rollins and Cody were getting essentially jumped and beat up, they didn't have additional help. I don't see that being the case at WrestleMania. They're going to have somebody. And I think we all kind of have our idea of who it's going to be. But I think at this point, I think there has to be some kind of a payoff here for Cody Rhodes because, man, if there's not, you're burying this dude hard.
But my biggest takeaway from Monday Night Raw last night is at the age of 51 years old, it is time for The Rock to quit messing around with Hollywood, quit making bullshit movies, and just return back to WWE full-time. You're a full-time superstar. This is what you're meant to do. Like, in movies, at best, he's a C-level action star, okay? Like, he found some success because he had a great work ethic and he has his great personality, but the reality is, like, in the wrestling ring, he's a god. In movies, he's just a guy. Like, we don't need any more Fast and the Furious. We're good, Rock. We don't need you to do that anymore. You can build your legacy. Right now, you're on the cusp of, in my book, like being the greatest of all time. This return back to the ring and kind of commanding all the attention. Look, guys, you know what The Rock's last 3 movies are? It's Fast X, Black Adam, and Red Notice. Do we really miss those if those don't exist without The Rock? I think we're all okay. But and we'll let him continue doing Moana. He can still be the voice of Maui because that's Disney money and that shit's ridiculous. But, like, I don't care. Heel, babyface, The Rock, he's a WWE guy. And I'll admit it right here. Like, Mike, you're saying that this beatdown has to go somewhere. I don't know. I'm not so sure about that anymore, right? Self-admittedly, I had become a Cody crybaby. There was a moment in time. I'm a self-reform. I drank the Cody Kool-Aid. Cody had me in my feelings about, like, oh, Cody needs a turn with the belt. It's only right. It's only fair. This is why we need The Rock. The Rock came back and sobered me up. The Rock came back and let me know. No, we don't. We need a grown-ass man in that ring who's allowed to say the word fuck whenever he wants to, apparently. And that's who needs to be champion. We need The Rock moving forward. I don't need Jungle Cruise 2, guys. Don't need it. All right.
What about the Tooth Fairy?
Don't need another Tooth Fairy. I don't need another Netflix movie. I don't want to see that shit. I'm okay if he hangs up the Hollywood, stops walking on the red carpet, and he comes back to WWE. Look, Dude has $800 million. He don't need any more. You don't have to make any more movies. You're done with trying to make money. Come back to where everybody loves you and just do what you do and live out the rest of your life as a wrestling god. So my stock rising, I mean, this isn't a surprise. Jade Cargill, absolute superstar. Like Friday solidified for me who she is. The entrance, her ability to talk, her presence in the ring. You now throw her into a situation at WrestleMania with Bianca Belair and Naomi. That's a prime fit. It's perfect. She will be protected. They can do a lot of the work. She can come in and hit her big spots, and ultimately she's going to come out of WrestleMania looking like an absolute star. One of our first memories of Jade Cargill is going to be that big Philadelphia stage and whatever production they put on for her to come out to the ring. I think kind of in talking about this, you guys remember the IWC like a couple years ago or even last year when they tried to argue about this parity between WWE's women division and AEW's women division? Like, I don't hear that shit anymore. Like, you can only put Toni Storm in the ring so many times before we start to catch on to the gimmick that you don't have enough people to solidify a division. You can only tell us that like a certain person is going to save the division so many times. First it was Saraya, then it was Toni Storm's new character. Now it's Mercedes Moné. Bullshit. You let the person go, Jade Cargill, that could have been the foundation of that division. So chalk this up to another swing and a miss for Tony Khan. And another big win for Triple H. 100 out of 100 times, I'm making the trade Jade Cargill for Mercedes Moné. Proved it on Friday. That's why her stock's rising to me. What you got, Mike?
Yeah, so for me, I'm going to go with Candice LeRae. I think the heel turn that she's taking right now is needed because there's not a lot of heel talents on the women's side right now on both brands, honestly. It's going to be interesting the way that they kind of direct her though, because I don't think that she's going to be a great heel on Raw, considering that Rhea Ripley is that champion. That's just not believable, right? If you put her on SmackDown and it's Bayley or Io, I can kind of be persuaded with that kind of matchup, right? So it's going to be interesting to see where they place her or what they do with her. I know right now I think the angle is probably going to be her turning on Indy possibly. But yeah, I think my stock rising this week is going to go to Candice LeRae.
I'd like to see Indy turn with her. I'd like for her to find, because Indy can be her muscle. She can give her that, if Candice is the brains and Indy is the muscle, then they can give Rhea Ripley a little bit of a problem if there's a 2-on-1 situation. So I like that choice. All right, so on the flip side for me, I'm going to continue with my trait of basically shitting on AEW. Biggest stock fall for me is Mercedes Moné. I'm going to... Look, you had your 1 week where everybody came out and cheered for you, but tell me, how does it feel now that there's 300 people in the building? Like, how does it feel that you're the CEO of 300 people? It's not what you thought it was going to be. You thought that realistically everybody was going to show up every week to see you, but here's the problem, right? The AEW mantra is come out, make a debut in your home city. It looks like you're going to be a big deal. Then the next couple weeks, you're kind of forgotten. You just fade back into the background. There's a realistic possibility to me that she burns all her goodwill in AEW with fans because it already sounds like a lot of the wrestlers don't like her. And so if the fans start to turn on her, there's a possibility that she thinks she's coming back to WWE at some point, but that bridge may burn, and this may be her final resting place as a professional wrestler. This Mercedes Moné reminds me a little bit of the Caitlin Clark situation with the big three. There's this opportunity to grab a bag. You have this opportunity, but in grabbing that bag, you are going to damage your legacy. If Caitlin Clark goes and takes the $5 million to play in the big three, which is prison basketball, they're going to beat her up. It's going to take a little bit of the mystique away from Caitlin Clark. Same with Mercedes Moné. You take this big bag, which is good for you, but now you have to wrestle in AEW every week, and you have to wrestle Toni Storm and these people over and over. Whereas if she just would have taken the comparable deal from WWE, I think that Naomi spot was her spot. I think that's where she was supposed to be. It was supposed to be Bianca, Jade, and Mercedes Moné in that match against Damage Control, which I know it's just part of the team, but it feels like a bigger deal heading into WrestleMania XL versus being just another girl on the roster in AEW. I hope, for her sake, I hope that contract she got with Tony Khan was guaranteed and all up front, because there's a big possibility, guys, there is no AEW in 2025. And so none of that exists. And then all of these wrestlers they're all going to be looking for employment, and WWE's roster is filling up fast as far as I'm concerned. All right, Mike, who's falling in your stock market?
Right, let me get this ready here. Is this thing on? All right,
yes, sir.
I'm gonna get nice to the camera here. Ladies and gentlemen of the IWC, we have a repeat offender. Liv Morgan stock is falling yet again. I repeat, Liv Morgan's stock has fallen yet again. She is nowhere to be found. I don't want to hear nothing about her anymore. I don't want any of you crybabies to come on X and start talking about her accolades and what she means to the business and all this and that. If she meant something, she's on the WrestleMania 40 card. Jade Cargill came in at the Royal Rumble WrestleMania. That should tell you enough right there, right? I'm tired of the narrative that she needs to get pushed. She got to push. She had a title run with the SmackDown Women's title, did absolutely nothing with it, nothing memorable about it. Her stock is falling. I think she needs a refresh or something. I guess maybe she can meet Rhea at SummerSlam or, Backlash. I don't know. But that's a consolation prize at this point. You're supposed to be on the biggest WrestleMania card of all time. You're not there. That's my stock falling.
My problem is, too, it looks like they flirted with the idea of involving her.
Yeah.
That they kind of were testing the water to see how, and I think ultimately when it came down, they go, nope, like it the way it is. We'll put her, like, same with Nia Jax. Like, you have this run all the way up until WrestleMania, and then there is no spot for you.
Yeah.
All right, Mike, it is time for our segment, Hot Mike, where you get to take us on any journey you want to take us through. What do you have for us today on Hot Mike?
So we're gonna predict this WrestleMania 40 Night 2 main event. All right. So I want you guys to go first. I want to go last because I want to see what you guys say. But WrestleMania 40 Night 2 main event prediction, go.
So are we kind of laying out our, like, how we think the match is going to go? So yeah, I'm sticking with my Avengers theme. I'm sticking 100% with my Avengers theme. I think that it comes down to Cody, Roman, it's going to be bloodline rules. They're going to win the tag match. There's going to be people everywhere. It's going to come down to Cody and Roman standing in that ring with bodies laid out all over the floor. And only thing I may change at this point is I can see Roman going over. I can see Cody and kind of leaning on The Rock, looking for him to help him, like, please, this is your last chance to turn babyface. Even The Rock teasing a babyface moment, turning and looking at Roman, like, and then ultimately taking out Cody. There's a possibility we come out of WrestleMania with The Rock, the biggest heel in wrestling history. So the way I see it, I'm predicting, I'm going to go on record here, The Rock takes out Cody and Roman gets the pin. All right, Mike, you clearly got something up your sleeve here.
All right, here we go. All right, so WrestleMania Night 2 main event. All right, I want to paint the picture here, right? Cody and Rock, geez, I mean, that's what it should be at this point. Cody and Roman going at it, bloodline rules. I think the Rock and Roman win night 1. We got bloodline rules. I think I'm going to follow your theme with the Avengers, right? We're going to have Jay. We're going to have Jimmy. We're going to have Solo. I think we're going to have some Samoans that you said might just pop up, get some new guys in here. I think we're going to get Stone Cold out there. I think we're going to get John Cena out there. I think it's just going to be, it's going to be one of those things where it's like, you can't sit down for the entire main event because it's just going to be action nonstop, turns left and right. But it's going to come down to the final chapter here, right? Bodies laying everywhere. Rock and Roman are the ones standing with Cody in the ring, right? So then we're going to get Seth Rollins coming in here, and it's going to be like a kind of a rematch of the tag match, right? They're going to all kind of stare each other down. It's going to start being a fight. And I think at some point we're going to get one of those where Seth Rollins is going for The Rock, takes out Cody Rhodes, right? Rock takes out Seth Rollins, right? Roman comes back, hits a finisher on Cody, and I'm sorry to say it, Cody Rhodes, fuck your story.
Yeah.
Roman Reigns walks out of WrestleMania 40 as your Universal Undisputed Champion, and we're gonna lead into WrestleMania 41 between Rock and Roman.
How quickly we all turn. I love it. I love it, man. All right, let's talk about Smackdown real quick. So we're days removed from Smackdown this past weekend. It always feels like by the time we get to Raw, I've forgotten most of what happened on Smackdown. But let's give our biggest takeaways from Smackdown last week. I'll start with mine, and I'm going to go a little kind of off the beaten trail here because I feel like we've talked about most of the main stuff. And I'm going to talk about Dominic Mysterio, a guy who I've been extremely critical of for the last year or two, and how they've paired him up with Santos Escobar. And I know this story kind of bleeds into Monday Night Raw, but I'm going to cheat and I'm going to use this as my SmackDown takeaway. I love this pairing. I absolutely love this idea that we're kind of teasing Santos, Andrade, and Dirty Dom. I think the Judgment Day's cooked, guys. I think it's over. I think it's time. I think they've worn their welcome. It's messy. It always kind of feels like Rhea's doing her own thing and Damien's doing his own thing. Finn Balor's absolutely been forgotten. He's just this background character who has no purpose other than carrying two titles around until they're split up at WrestleMania. But like, I can admit when I'm wrong. I was wrong. I was one of the biggest Dominic Mysterio haters for the last 2 years when I thought that he had aspirations of being the next Rey Mysterio. I was wrong. Now, all along I said if Dominic Mysterio embraced more of the Eddie Guerrero style of character, this heel persona where he didn't take himself too seriously, that it would work. That's what he's done. He's figured out how to create this own version of himself where while he's not taken seriously, we do take him a little bit seriously, and he's embraced this role over the last couple of weeks, and he's kind of separated himself from a faction that's dying, and he's made himself important in another story that's going to continue moving forward. After WrestleMania, Rhea Ripley's going to have to kind of reinvent herself outside of the Judgment Day. I think Damian Priest is a little bit of a lame duck at this point because there were plans for him to be a world heavyweight champion. But when you look moving forward, I'm starting to think he fails his cash-in because CM Punk's in waiting, Drew McIntyre's in waiting, Seth Rollins isn't going anywhere. So that title picture is going to be real messy moving forward. So for me, I think Dominic Mysterio has clearly set himself up to have something moving forward outside of Judgment Day. I said create a faction, Andrade, Dominic Mysterio, Santos Escobar, and throw Lola Vice in there, and I'm fucking sold. That's my team. I will ride with that team every day of the week. I hope, though, that Triple H understands Rey Mysterio can't win at WrestleMania. Like, we can't do this again. Dom needs this win. He needs to solidify himself to be taken seriously with Santos. They have to win that match. I don't want to see the passing of the torch to Dragon Lee. We can do that later on. This has to be Dom's moment. That's what I took away. Who's next on this one?
I'll go.
Go for it.
So I think my biggest takeaway was I'm confused about Carlito, man. You guys feeling confused about him?
Yeah,
he looked his facial expressions on Friday were, I don't know if they were like part of the plan in the story or if he's just like not interested. I'm trying to still figure that out. Could you turn him heel? Could he turn on Rey at WrestleMania to help Dominic win? But then it's like, are we really gonna ride out a story with Carlito at his age? And can we really ride a heel story with him?
Could he lead the faction that I was talking about though, as like a mentor?
Possibly. I could see that. I was very confused at the whole schematic of the LWO and Legato in the ring, and then we get the tag match announced with Dragon Lee, and it's like, why aren't you not using anybody? It was a bit confusing. I would have preferred Dom versus Ray straight up.
Agree.
But, it is what it is,
Would you? All right, guys, let's finish off the show with a little blind ranking. So the way this is going to work is I'll spin this wheel 5 times. I've got every match from WrestleMania on this wheel. Just say out loud where you rank it, let's do 1 through 6. That gives you one place to kind of wiggle around at, all right? So first spin here. Where do you place the United States title match? I'm going to put it 3. I'm going to be safe here. I'm going to go 3. No, I'm going to go 4. 4 for me. United States title match is 4th on my card. 4th on my rankings.
Yeah, I'll go 5. I'm going to go 5.
All right. 5. Here we go. Spinning again. Roman Cody.
That's 1. Yeah, actually, you know what? I'm going to go 2. I'm going to go 2. Yeah.
That's a dangerous game, guys. I'm going 1.
Okay, no, I'm going 2.
Because you're banking on something better coming up here.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going 1. All right, 3rd match here. Bayley, Io.
That'll be my 6.
I'm going 5. Jay and Jimmy.
That'll be my 4.
So I'm going Roman Cody 1 so far. I got Jay and Jimmy 2. I'm excited about that one. I got 3 open. I got the U.S. title at 4, and I got Bayley and Io at 5.
Okay.
Last one here. Santos, Dom, Dragon Lee, and Rey Mysterio. Where do I put that?
When you said wiggle room, is that like we can adjust?
No. It means strategically you can leave a spot open. I'm putting it 6. Man. I'm going 6, even though I just bigged up.
Man. I guess that's my 3, right?
Is that your 3?
That's my 3. Yeah.
I'll go back and write it down. But all right, so I have Roman Cody 1, Jay Jimmy 2. I guess I'll move up. Since I didn't use 3, U.S. title 3, Bayley, Io 5 or 4, and Santos 6.
Oh man, that was. See, I talked shit on that Dom match. That's probably why it happened like that.
But this has been another episode of the Casual Wrestling Community Show. Make sure to like and subscribe if you don't already. Remember to clip your favorite part of the episode and share it with friends across all the social media. The merch store and the website are under construction, so be on the lookout for new versions of those. Make sure to follow us on all social media platforms like TikTok, YouTube, and X. Just search Casual Wrestling. As always, we enjoyed hanging out. I am NerdyD. That is Milwaukee Mike. And we will talk more casual wrestling next week.
Hey, you better bring it if we debating going toe-to-toe. No holding back, I'm speaking the facts. Let me introduce you to the dopest show. NerdyD and Milwaukee Mike, bringing the energy. If you a fan of wrestling, and especially WWE, this is the Casual Wrestling Show.